Get this. Weekdays on the Triple M network and KOFM in Newcastle.
Richard Molloy, Roo from Tough Love, is with us. And, do you get a lot of emails on your show?
No, we get a lot of stuff, a lot of contributions.
Yeah, we get complaints mainly.
Right.
Listen to this from Philip Taylor. Why is it that every time a sandbag falls on your show, it hits Plums? But the Prime Minister gets away with a plum-free plummet. So he's wanting us to drop a sandbag on the Prime Minister's plums. Is that entertainment here, Cavalier?
Yep.
Really?
Where I come from.
Right.
Plumtown.
Give it a go. There we go. Oh, me plums! Oh, I'll just sit down on this bear trap. Oh, me plums again! Oh, I'll stand over here by this electric heater. Oh, me plums! I'll just position myself in front of this tennis ball machine. Oh, me poor ailing plums! Oh, thank God I didn't leave those fireworks in my underpants. Oh, plums! Are you happy now, Philip Taylor?
Yeah, happy, Phil.
I don't even know if that sounded anything like John Howard.
I mean, it was worth it to see you doing it.
Go to here.
I love your live sketches, Tone. That was great. I've got another complaint here, Tone. Check this out.
Really?
Chris from Brisbane says you guys were wearing T-shirts under your satiny caftans. That's cheating.
Yeah.
He's right.
Yeah.
Greg Fleet didn't. Greg Fleet took his shirt off, wore his caftan all day, and then he said, as he was leaving, he goes, "Oh, it's a bit cold," and puts a suit jacket on over his caftan.
And then he's down in the foyer waiting for a cab, and the security guard told him to move on. He's come back into the office to tell me, he's going, "Oh, I'm just standing in the foyer, and apparently 2 women who work here in the sales department have been freaked out by me hanging out in the foyer." And he was just wearing a satiny caftan with a suit jacket over the top. Yeah. Do you get Greg Fleet on your show?
Well, no, for that reason.
You have to, it's hard work booking him.
Security won't let him in the building.
He does live in a dump master behind the station, I should point that out.
Upgraded to a dump master.
It's a well-appointed dump master.
Sure it is. Ocean Glimpses.
Roo here was in a great Australian film called Tackle Happy a few years ago.
You in that, Roo?
I was, briefly. I wasn't supposed to be in it. I just kind of ended up there. Yeah.
Really?
Best scene, that one.
Is the scene where Roo is trying to bust Simon Morley from Puppetry the Penis out of prison. It is a great scene.
Yes. I can't remember it, but
No. I wish we had that clip.
Deacon Street,
that's it.
like the Prime Minister.
That's it. Australia's first Prime Minister.
It's all getting a bit personal.
Actually, when we were in Brisbane for the Broytown premiere, we went back to the very bar where Simon Morley was before he got arrested. So it was like reliving old times.
Fantastic.
Hey, how'd you get into radio, Roo? Because I lied.
Oh, that's a good question, Ed. 'Cause I'm not exactly sure.
Really?
Because I've been working with Mick, obviously.
Yeah.
For
You've known him a long
several
time.
years, basically. When Tough Love started, it was a much bigger show, can you believe? It was actually went for 2 hours.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes, that's right.
It's hard to imagine now.
About an hour of that was just Alan Bro waffling on about New Zealand bands, though, if I remember.
That's right. So I was sort of a contributor to that. And then as the show evolved, I've eventually just wormed my way in there, basically.
Planning on taking
That's
over,
right.
Roo?
To the point, after 2 years, I actually got introduced. So,
Hey!
Oh, wow, that's very nice.
How's the white anting going?
Yeah, going very well.
Robert's next out the
That's
door,
it.
then Nick's out the door.
It's all part of my plan.
Boy, you know, it's the Roo hour.
That's it.
What about this guy? A cow you can steer. Santiago Chile, a taxi driver, sick of being robbed, has dressed his taxi up as a cow. So that now people will take notice of it as it drives past, and then they'll report it.
Yeah.
There's a man, inside a cow being robbed.
I don't see how that
Someone
prevents
call the
crime.
police.
It's because the criminals will be just laughing so hard that they're in the cow cab. They couldn't possibly do something nasty.
They'll be watching the cars go past going, Jose, which one should we rob?
Yeah.
And then they'll see the cow. They're like, don't go for the cow.
No, we don't want to be accused of cowjacking.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
I guess it's the similar effect is created by those cabs that used to have a picture of Mick Molloy in his underpants on the roof.
Oh, they deterred,
One of them.
passengers and would-be robbers.
What did Mick's mum think of those giant billboards of him in the underpants?
Just said the usual. Oh, Michael.
I hope those are clean.
Yeah, they would have been, but not ironed.
What about this bloke? I'm entering allegedly country. I've got to be careful.
Sorry, can I just quickly get back to the cow for a
It
second?
might be a good idea, actually.
a little bit that I forgot to read out. He's renting out the cow cab for amorous encounters. So what's happened is, he's not only is he not getting robbed anymore, he reckons business is booming, and every now and again people will ring up, and he just has to drive around with the earplugs in, as people are amorously going for it in the back.
Don't bother knocking if the cow's rocking. Jeez. This bloke here, Channel 7 National News and Current Affairs Chief Peter Meakin, who's been accused of drink driving. Now he's seeking a adjournment to make representations to the police to urge them to drop the charges.
Why?
I don't know. But just the idea that you can't get around drink driving anymore.
When did that start?
Jeez, it's...
Further proof of how political correctness is being taken to ridiculous extremes.
Don't you reckon?
Thank you, Naomi.
Remember the 70s?
I don't.
Drink driving, there were ads telling you to drink drive.
Really?
Every night on
Seems
TV.
odd.
Smoking, people with the newsreaders were smoking.
That's true.
Well, every pub had this massive car park attached to it. So, you don't see that anymore, do you?
And there was, people would just leave taps running all day.
Oh, that's true.
Wasn't that fun?
Oh, that was
Remember those days?
Those were the days.
Remember the days when you could leave a tap running at home, go to work, come home, and it'd still be going?
You were completely smashed and driven home in your cow. The days I think that are weird that are going where people use cooking oil as sunscreen. I had a PE teacher at school who every couple of weeks he'd come in with a massive bandage on his face because he'd say, "Oh yeah, they found another one of the melanomas, kids. You just get them zapped out. It's no big deal." And we said, "Sir, why are you so crispy all the time? You smell delicious." And he said, "Oh, kids, when I was your age, we didn't have sunscreen. We used cooking oil. If you couldn't smell yourself burning, you weren't doing it right."
Then you went and lay down under a giant magnifying glass for the whole afternoon.
I think at the beach they used to just have rotisseries that people used to put themselves on.
Andrea Powell is with us.
G'day.
Neighbour Trouble. You normally have Neighbour Trouble and often are able to fashion this into an entire Fringe Festival show.
It's true, I did last time, didn't I? Well, I have had some neighbour trouble. Last night I woke up at 4 a.m. and heard a very strange noise at my kitchen window. Got up, looked out there, and there was a pair of naked man's legs.
Yes. Yes.
And normally I would scream at something like that, but there was something so comical. I thought a burglar would not be attempting to break in his underpants. So I've just gone, oh, what's going on?
So this is like a pressed fruit bowl against the window at 4 a.m. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was.
Enough for you to be able to identify the felon at a later date?
It was a little bit like a neighbour's butcher shop right at my window. And I've gone, what's going on? He's gone, oh, Andrea, I've locked myself out really badly, as opposed to in a good way. So I've gone, well, what do you want me to do? And he's gone, can you call the NRMRACV? And that's when I've thought, I think the guy's had a few.
And always locked out nude. I mean, how does that really happen?
Because this is what kills me. He'd locked his keys in the car, so he's locked out of his car and his house. What was he doing driving in his underpants and socks to begin with to get locked out of his car and his flat?
He was going to get his clothes.
So I rang up the RAC and then I just said, look, I've got to go back to bed. So anyway, the RAC have come.
Yes.
I don't know what's happened, but then I hear him at 7 o'clock this morning with a ladder trying to get into his house, into the flat.
Took you 3 hours to find a ladder.
So, just, I
It's
haven't had a
great.
lot of sleep.
All right.
It's a great place to live.
I know.
Welcome
It's
to the
great.
show.
I'm a bit of a bad neighbour. Yesterday I was starving. I'd had a couple of dinners and I was still absolutely starving.
Oh,
So-
I'm with you, Ed.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a dinners woman all the way.
How-
I
what-
finish one meal and I start thinking about what I'm going to have next.
That's exactly what I do. It's bad when you start eating 2 meals at once. Like one day I made steak and tuna salad and was kind of shoveling steak in on one side and tuna salad in on the other. That's
Oh,
when
I
you've gone
like
too
it.
far. All right, well, come over. But I was on my way to the shops to get some Subway after dinner, and then I got some milk.
After dinner?
Yeah. So when I got back, I had milk, a big litre of milk in my hand. And I was juggling Subway and milk, and I dropped it in the lift, and the milk just went.
Oh, did the lift have carpet?
No, it's tiled.
Right.
But it went everywhere, like really like high up, like taller than me, in all these nooks and crannies. I heard a big splash of it go down like through the gap and stuff like that. So I thought I'd better clean it up. I ran in to got some toilet paper from my house, went outside and was just sort of quietly mopping up the milk with toilet paper. The lift had closed and we must have gone down a couple of levels because then the doors opened and there was just a couple of people from my building getting in. And I looked at them and they looked at me, a sad man, Sunday night, cleaning milk up with toilet paper. And they didn't even say hi. They just turned their backs, pushed the
Wonder
ground
why.
floor,
Yeah.
and we went all the way down in silence while I was mopping it up.
Apparently he's on Get This on Triple M.
That lift would have stunk. No?
Well, my flatmate came home about an hour and a half later. She came upstairs and I was eating cereal. And she said, "Oh, the lift." And I said, "Yeah, no, I dropped some milk in the lift." She goes, "It stinks."
Yeah.
I went, "Yeah, I did my best."
All my own work.
With a bit
Triple
of
M, 9 till 10 mornings. Some states 5 till 6 or midday. Well, no, we've got
Breakfast in Osaka.
Hard Rubbish Days coming up. I think not for a couple of weeks, but people are just getting stuff out early.
Yeah, got it.
And our neighbours don't like our hard rubbish crossing the border and touching their hard rubbish. There's a lot of hard rubbish politics. And then people just get up real early and start stealing each other's hard rubbish.
Do they ever?
We had a table out the front. Somebody's taken the table. We saw one of our neighbours scurrying back with our table to their place. And we've gone over and they've got quite a good big cardboard box that would be good for storing maybe CDs in. So we've helped ourselves to that. Basically, Hard Rubbish Day is just rotating the furniture.
It's a swap meet.
It's a swap meet.
Yeah, we used to know it was time, when I lived in Sydney in dodgy share houses, we used to know it was time to get a new couch when Hard Rubbish Day would come out. And we would walk out with our really old crap brown couch. And because people who are slightly older than us had gotten jobs and gotten richer, so they'd got a good couch and thrown out their not as crap couch.
Oh, okay.
So we'd progress up to the not as crap couch and put our crap brown couch on the road. And then the first years from university would come and take that.
That's the
and
way it is.
And, it's the circle of life.
The circle of
life.
busted couches.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've never put a piece of furniture out for hard rubbish that's actually been taken by the hard rubbish people.
No, there's very little left by the time they get there.
My mum used to
Disappeared.
cruise around in a ute and come home with like half-broken Marilyn Monroe lamps and say, "Look what we've got to light your room."
Wow, fantastic. That's the most normal story I've ever heard about her, Ed.
Oh, that's the cavalier one. She was just in socks and undies at the time, of course.
Every day is Hard Rubbish Day here at Get This.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk on the weekend on the Sunday program about media beat-ups and how
Media beat-ups.
the media are turning people against the Lebanese community and using Sheikh Halali as a new tamper to beat them with.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think there's a lot to that.
Yeah, so do
Have
I.
a listen to this quote from a young Lebanese gentleman on the Sunday program yesterday.
I don't think that anything he said incited what, people can I can listen to Tupac if I want to. I can listen to Nickelback if I want to. If I want to follow what this guy followed, that's up to me.
Hang on a second, is Sheikh Halali pushing the Nickelback onto the Lebanese
too
kids
far. You got to draw the line somewhere.
Jeez, the mufti of metal, is that what he is now? Oh, I was fine with the whole meat thing, but the Nickelback, sorry.
You got to draw the line somewhere.
Jeez.
Hello, Ash.
Hi, how you going?
Yeah, really good. What'd you do on the weekend?
Well, I live in Melbourne, and my best friend lives in Albury, so I drove all the way out for the Albury show. And then when I was there, some loser from the army and his mates were having a Daywood dogfight, and I got tomato sauce all over my face.
Oh, no. What do you...
So
what?
you look like you'd been shot.
I was devastated.
Ash?
I was devastated, yeah.
Did you say they had a Dagwood dogfight?
A Daywood dogfight. You know, the big sausages on a stick? and
Yeah,
they-
how do you fight with those? Like, as if they were swords, or...?
Yeah, they thought they were some sort of Jedi warrior or something.
Is
I don't
that
know.
right?
Yeah. Could you get a jousting situation going, do you
Oh,
think?
you could get...
No, I cried and I ran off.
Oh, well, you're going to get an album to take that pain away, and it is good for removing sauce stains as well, I hear. But Tone's onto something. Let's say that you and I got a pair of rollerblades, Tone,
Yeah.
and a Dagwood dog each,
Yes.
and sort of flew at each other,
Yeah.
and see what happens.
When's that scheduled for?
No, look, I've got a new plan, right?
Is that after the Canvas
Now,
Sack
look,
broadcast?
It's clear that I'm not going to do any
The
of that.
table tennis tournament?
Oh, look, there's probably some Toto we should be playing, isn't there, Rich? Why? No, down.
No,
trying to get him over the
not
top.
really.
Dun, 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 dun.
There's probably just a whole lot of broken promises shattered on the floor like so many chocolate eggs. So many disappointed listeners. So many people tuning in day after day because they've heard the sizzle. Sorry?
That was me singing Toto to get you to be quiet.
Yeah, it was hard to recognise, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that wasn't the lyrics.
I don't know the lyrics. I only know the keyboard bits. Hi, Gary.
Tony Wilson.
Hello. Hello,
you-
Tony, Ed.
Hey, what have you brought in, Tony?
I brought in something in the national colours on Cup Day. Australia United, by me, Tony Wilson, adventures at the 2006 World Cup, Germany.
And you were at a lot more of it than I was, because we were over there for about the same amount of time.
And then we went on diverging pathways. One of us staying with the tournament, the other of us going to suck piss in Prague.
A lot of the book is you travelling the places and then sitting in squares getting drunk.
Yeah.
And might I say, really erudite Australians and other people coming up and having conversations with you.
Well, there was a Japanese guy by the name of Kenji, and he was filming our views on what football was, and I stammered out something about how it brings the world together. It was all cliches and not worth recording. You could see that sinking feeling in Kenji's face as he recorded it.
I hope that's not in the book.
And then I said to Kenji, well, I'm writing a book. Have you got anything good? And Kenji just nails this brilliant philosophy. It was like he was Confucius. He was saying it's all about successive futures, and it moves from one future to the next future to the next future, just like life. And I sort of came out of it thinking that Mr. Miyagi had just given me a dressing down. But basically, that section in the book ends with him saying that the Japanese think too much. Australia is much more playing with feeling, with heart. Kenji had barely finished his sentence before a conga line of Aussies emerged through the glass door of the carriage. Sushi, sushi, sushi train, sushi train, sushi train. They sang as they snaked joyfully past our cabin. Maybe Kenji was right. From the look of them, they were living for the short term with no notion of incremental, successive futures. They were just being the best sushi train they could be.
Oh, what's some beautiful writing. That's from Tony Wilson's
Beautiful.
Australia United.
Right.
That's out. Don't forget Players is still in the shops. Excellent novel. And a book for the kids, The Thirsty Flowers.
You'd be pleased to know that I launched another children's book the other day for a guy called Graham Bass. He's massive. He's sold
Animalia.
He's sold 5 million books worldwide, and so I was kind of the little stooge who had to fire up the kids beforehand.
Right.
And,
The warm-up act.
I was the warm-up act, and then I interviewed Graham. Yeah. But whilst he was organising the incredible, out-of-control signatures for 800 kids, one kid came up to me. His name was Carlo. And said, will you sign a Post-it note on Graham Bass's book? I said, oh, no worries. He's holding it out, and I'm trying to think of what to write. His little smart-ass friend over the shoulder, Chris, who's out at Sunshine Christian College.
Chris,
eight-year-old,
Pull your pants up.
Yeah.
8-year-old kid, Vietnamese. He's over the top, and in a strong Australian accent, he's come out with, what do you want his signature? And Carlo said, oh, he's written his own book. He said, how do we know he wrote it? Then he goes to I flip to the front of my book and point to my name and say, Tony Wilson, I wrote The Thirsty Flowers. There it is, Chris. Then I'm poised still over the Post-it note, and he goes, bit rusty.
He's a future literary critic or investigative journalist. And hang on, so you're signing a Post-it note, you're just barnacling onto somebody else's book.
Well, I'm counting it as an autograph for all those who think I don't keep count. I'm up to 15 this year.
Not bad.
Oh, and the kids, what about the drama in the papers today? An actor who played a Bananas and Pajamas character has been jailed for glassing another woman at a Gold Coast pub last year.
Glassing another woman?
The woman who plays Lulu.
Bear.
Yeah, it wasn't one of the bananas themselves.
They were already paralytic.
And they have bodyguards now to beat people up for them.
That's true.
They're so up themselves. Now that the banana is so valuable, they're getting around with the bling on.
Yes. Solid gold pajamas.
Entourage. They both got the grills in. Have you seen that?
Yeah, they do.
Australia will be a safer place when bananas drop to $7 a kilo again.
So what's happened?
Oh, the woman who plays Lulu.
Lulu's a cuddly bear, sans pants.
All right. Well, the thing is, mystery surrounds whether this woman actually played Lulu, as her lawyers claimed in court. Now, why would you claim that if it wasn't true? Don't worry, I've got this fantastic strategy.
Yeah, what is it?
No. I'll just say that you were the bear in Bananas and Pajamas.
Why?
It'll distract them.
Yeah.
Because they'll go, oh, that bear, it's so cuddly.
Okay,
that bear wouldn't glass somebody.
If this defence doesn't work, I'm going to glass you.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're not really the bear at all?
Nah, I'm a glasser.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I roam through bars glassing people. And if you want to say that I was the bear on Bananas and Pajamas, that's fine.
My favourite line from the story is the woman wept, sobbed, and threw up in the dock after pleading guilty. Wept, sobbed, and threw up in the dock.
She's wept, and the lawyer's gone, it's not getting through. And then she sobbed, it's not getting through.
Yeah.
Go for the A material.
Yeah. And then the stenographer going,
we have our ascending tricolon. Well done.
BBBGHHH. How do you spell that exactly? Why would you claim that if it wasn't true,
I don't know.
Tony?
B1 degree assault.
Oh, hello. Is Greg Fleet here? Look at this. Tony Wilson brings in He's obviously had a colonoscopy.
What's happened is I walk down to my office every day with your podcast. So I've now listened to 31 consecutive shows of you guys.
15 to go.
And you'd be pleased to know that I ran into one of the Melbourne football clubs, the Western Bulldogs Football Club, on their Mad Monday.
Oh, yeah.
What's that? What's their
How mad does it get?
That's when they're out doing what B1 and B2 do with classes, basically.
Yeah.
But I was at the lights and I broke into laughter, and one of the Footscray footballers said, "What are you laughing at?" And I said, "I'm laughing at Tony Martin being the other Tony Martin at the moment," which is what I was up to in the podcast.
Oh, that's right. I strangle myself and become Tony Martin from Wildside. It's quite easy. Have a go. Anyone can do it.
I'm Tony Wilson from Wildside.
Why did you join the force in the first place? I said, why did you join the force in the first place? Just say everything twice and strangle yourself, and you are Tony Martin.
Yeah, but basically, so I've therefore heard a lot of Fleet's work because he's
Greg Fleet. We can't shake him off.
No.
He's probably on the most, and I was wondering.
He is on the most. He's been severely on the most for
He's
years.
on it.
He claims he's off the most. I'm not sure.
And I wondered whether he knew and you knew, because my mother, and this is where you put in the bowel cancer observation. My mother had bowel cancer, got through it, but now she has to have a colonoscopy every 18 months. And
Gotta have him.
And when I'm 35, I'm up for him as well.
Get that camera up there.
I've turned 34, so it's a year to go.
Hey,
but
year to go.
She's told me the worst part of the colonoscopy is the preparation, and you have to take a fluid, an awful sort of thick gunk that just washes you out.
You have to drink it.
Actually, because I've had a couple of these. Work-related, of course.
Yeah,
Not
right.
for medical reasons.
Yeah, right.
It was a pilot we were doing.
Yeah. I heard it was pretty good.
It's nice to make it tax deductible,
The
isn't it?
show that we did for 10 didn't get up, and the ABC were interested, so I thought, camera up the arse. Maybe there's something up there.
There it
Maybe
is.
that's an expanding market.
Up there. Maybe there's something up there.
But a couple of years ago, it was this sort of green concrete. But now it's
Green
like
concrete?
Yeah, basically
Yuck.
you're drinking green concrete. Well, something you don't like to eat.
No.
You finally struck something after 8 months.
Sounds filling, though.
But now it's a sort of refreshing fizzy drink.
Yes, it's still apparently not very nice tasting, but it is called Fleet.
Is it?
Yeah.
So if you want a colonoscopy treatment with flavour and class, grab some Fleet and have it for the day before.
He's providing that service for free, though. Like
he'll clean you out.
Clean you right out.
And how do you reckon they advertise Fleet? Just a boat on a pond.
I didn't want to have that done until I saw that boat on that pond. Now it looks like a very relaxing holiday.
This is not what the brochure said it would be. Dear, oh dear. Please.
Tony, what is this glistening gold object you've brought in?
Well, I've heard that one of Ed's mispromises for the year
so many to choose from
is that he said he'll have a table tennis tournament. And, I've been involved in one. I used to play in the Down Street table tennis tournament in Collingwood about once every month with a mate of mine, and I won the tournament with my partner, Tamsin. We got awarded these gold glitter bats.
Oh, look at
joined
together. Stuck together, and they are beautiful. They are beautiful.
They are the sort of, that's what Michael Landon walks towards at the end of Highway to Heaven. And basically, with their gold sparkle, I was thinking that you might award them to the winner of your tournament.
Look, you've done the right thing. This is what I was hoping for. If I just say it and then do nothing, eventually people will get upset and start doing my work for me, and it's starting to pay off.
And another thing I can suggest for your tournament, which we used to do at Down Street, is some blacklight action. Get yourself a black light, paint the bats white, paint the net white, the ball goes, and everything is this luminous purple.
Oh, my God.
And you play round the table, black light table tennis.
And you can steal people's signatures from their credit card while you're about it. We haven't mentioned horse racing, probably because we know nothing about it.
I know.
The noise you have to make if there's a scratching is this. A scratching for Gary Electric Toyota. It's on one of those other channels.
I don't know what he's talking about here. I know this sound. It's whenever in like any movie made before 1975, if somebody's watching TV, they're always watching this on TV. It's like that was the only thing shown on TV for 50 years, apparently. Hey, speaking of spellings and mispronunciations and errors of talking and whatnot, I was waiting for The Sopranos to come on last night,
yeah,
so it's about 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Was it a good episode, Mr. Marsden?
Fantastic, yeah. It's back on track because I was a bit worried about season 6 because there was about 3 episodes of the dream sequence.
The dream
just
How worried were you, Rich?
Yeah.
pretty concerned.
Yeah.
I've invested 5 years in this show. I don't want to, 6 feet under style.
And yet, Tony, incredibly hot girlfriend.
Well, I think it's the number one show ever made. There you go. I'm with you,
Sopranos.
Richard.
Sopranos.
Mars Wonderland, as I'm calling you.
The button whisperer. Sir Ben Kingsley in it last night as well.
Sir Ben Kingsley.
Yeah.
Didn't Sir Ben Kingsley sentence Saddam Hussein to death yesterday? Did you see that footage?
He did.
Again, he's gone off. The Sopranos, you're saying the best show ever?
Maybe Northern Exposure's as good.
I love Northern Exposure.
What about Deadwood?
I haven't seen it.
That's the big debate.
Yeah,
with
time's going to tell on that one, Tone.
I think Deadwood might be better than The Sopranos. See, Nikki's agreeing.
I'm naturally anti-Western. I don't
Yeah,
know.
see, that's the thing. That's why
yeah.
so many people don't watch it. That's why I didn't watch
And
it.
that's a natural reaction, Wilson. That's
Yeah.
a very natural reaction up front.
I didn't watch it, and I've been around about 3 times on Showtime, and friends of mine had an intervention. They're going, get over the hats. It's actually good.
I liked Evil Roy Slade, a movie from the 60s.
yeah.
Then I tried to watch, is it Unforgiven, which was apparently meant to be the Western that made you like Westerns. Didn't like it. And then I heard about Deadwood and said, well, I didn't like that Unforgiven. Why will I turn around on Deadwood?
Okay, what you want to do is you want to watch the Trinity films with Terence Hill and Bud Spencer,
really?
progress
Yeah,
to the shakiest gun in the West with Don Knotts, and then I think you're ready for Deadwood.
Need it. You'll need it by the end of the shakiest gun in the West.
I'd like to see Don Knotts in Deadwood. Well, swear it. I'm a what? I'm a hoople here. Sorry. What are we talking about?
You've got a clip, Tone.
Waiting up for The Sopranos, they're talking about this new film with Kate Blanchett
Yeah.
and Brad Pitt.
Sorry. What?
This is how the title is spelt. Are you ready for this, Tony?
Yeah.
Babel. What does that spell?
Babel.
Babel, as in the Tower of Babel.
Yes, as in lots of languages. The Babel fish in Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yes, exactly. So if a journalist was to see the word Babel, what would they call it?
The Australian Oscar winner stars with Brad Pitt in Babel, which follows a couple on holiday in Morocco trying to fix their
It
marriage.
sounds like a Daryl Hannah film, Babel.
And she wouldn't let it go.
The talk in Hollywood is that Kate Blanchett's performance in Babel could earn her an Oscar for Best Actress.
Babel.
The Tower of Babel. That's what we should call this show, the Tower of Babel.
Britney Spears and her teenage friends hijinks in Babel.
But in case you're wondering,
Babel opens in Australia on Boxing Day.
I'm sure that will open before Pajamas High. You can follow me in this, Tony?
What do you
I'm
say?
trying to get a character.
I've written down an outline of the first episode.
An outline.
An outline of a treatment, if you will. Yeah,
Treatment. So we're not going to have a sketch. We're going to have a bit of sizzle for possibly a
because
sketch.
what we want is we're going to give you the song, then I'm going to give you the outline, and then I'm throwing it open to the listeners / emailers, and I want there's some proposed lines and things like that, and then I'm going to collate all that into a first episode.
Oh, all right.
Don't look at me like it's not going to happen. I've gotten this far. I've got a bit of paper.
You successfully got everyone else writing it for you. I think you should be right.
It's brilliant. It's quite brilliant, really.
Day one, Pajamas High. Chairman of the Nerd Committee, Tony Martin, is busted by the 2 sports coaches for non-attendance. He is forced to play football unless he and the Nerd Committee can come up with a plan. Problem is, they only have one lunchtime meeting left before the big game. How will the chairman of the Nerd Committee, Tony Martin, get out of this one? And who is the mysterious delivery man that may hold all the answers?
If we can guess. Right, so what do the listeners have to do?
That description will be up on the website, and all they got to do now is just write in, like if they've just got 2 lines that they'd like, a little bit of stage direction, whatever they'd like, and then me and Shanksy and Nikki and yourself and Wilson, you're involved now, bad luck. We're going to cobble it together, and we're going to come up with a first episode.
Wow.
That will be read out on air, and the parts will be played by the people that the characters.
Oh, and will it be live, like old-style radio?
You know it.
Wow.
So you need a nerd excuse, is that right, to get out of sport?
I'm just going, when I set up taping like Late Line and trying to cut what John Howard said into like a bit of music, what I could do is just come in and go, hey, everyone, I was watching Late Line last night. Here's what I saw. I'll be out the back making a coffee. If you guys want to write the sketch, put it on the internet, and then I'll just read it out tomorrow. Wouldn't that be an easy way to live your life?
Listen,
Can you imagine that, Tony?
That's why he doesn't get his name on the poster, Tony.
Thank you for bringing that up.
That's true. Yeah. And why Ed's name really should be at the beginning of the show. I agree with that. But the gap in the Hive song is only enough for 2 people. If we get asked back next year, maybe we'll get the Hives to re-record a longer version.
I've got to start getting more precious round here.
Yeah.
No name on the poster.
Have you got a character you'd like to be, Tony?
Yes, I want to be Mr. Hugh Snibson, who is the Mormon physics teacher with a birthmark on his face, and he has taken a bit of heat from the kids. He comes in on day 1 with a guitar and tries to win them over, singing Monty Python's The Galaxy Song.
You're on. You are on.
This show
son. You
is
are on.
writing itself. Tony Wilson has come in, and he's just received a copy of our new album, A Legal Download, which is only obtainable to listeners of this program who call in and get on air on Talkback Mountain.
You know it.
And if this was released in 1985, it would look like you had a record deal. But with the miracles of home computing, I know that this took about 4 hours to knock up. Well done, guys.
There's only 1,000 of them.
Yep.
1,000, and we will be giving some to people who write into us from zones where, because of the time difference, they can't get on.
We are sympathetic to that, and we're going to make some allowances.
Guarantino.
Oh, Guerin, yes.
Yeah, I met him in a shop, and he introduced himself as the bloke who'd sung The Touch from the Transformers, the movie soundtrack, with Richard Marsland. They duetted.
right, yeah.
He sent me in, look at this, a copy of the soundtrack.
Lovely. He made a little cover for it and everything.
And then maybe thinking, that's not going to be enough.
No.
That's not going to be enough to swing the deal. I better send them the latest issue of Bacon Busters.
What's that?
It's a magazine for people who like to kill pigs.
And what's on the cover? Who's made the front cover this week?
They've got, firstly they're pointing out it's the original and the best.
Of the pig killing magazines.
Yeah, you don't want to get those rubbish ones.
Yeah, I hate those rubbish ones.
I went to Alaska in 1998 and made a story about a woman who said that she met her husband after answering an ad in a pig shooting magazine. And I've always thought, for like how many years, 8 more years on, surely there is no such thing as a pig shooting magazine. And yet, you flash bacon across my face there, Tony Martin, and my question is answered.
They've got, is this Australia's biggest boar?
Probably.
They've got 124 pigs in 6 days. Can it be done?
How many times do you reckon they've used the boar headline?
Yeah, I know. You want to go boar again?
Yeah.
Bringing home the bacon was last month. We'll have to go back to boar.
Yeah.
Girls with grunt.
What? Hang on. What?
Yeah. But see, the thing is,
Is it girls draped over dead pigs?
I'd have to open the magazine. And see, last night...
Right here.
Okay, I'm warning you.
I don't care. I'm into it.
I gave this to my wife yesterday. I've gone, someone said it's Bacon Busters, and we're all laughing, and then she opened it.
Yep.
She's gone,
wow.
Dear, that is disturbing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've got a story for them.
Yeah, please do, Wally.
Well, I went taken out for birthday dinner this week at a restaurant in Melbourne called Taxi, and it was kind of my sister and my birthday, a very flash place.
Yeah, right.
And the waiter told me that I was having some Iberian jamon. And apparently the pigs that are killed for Iberian jamon, they have only ever eaten acorns in their whole life.
Whoa.
Which is why it comes in at some extraordinary dollar price per kilo. And you can taste the acorn on the bacon.
Can you survive on an acorn-only diet?
I don't know. It does sound cruel. So if you are eating Iberian jamon, you, like me, are a bacon abuser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big shout out to the whole Dog and Utes weekend.
That's harmless. That's great, the Dog and Utes weekend.
No, attendees. And a big shout out to 19-year-old Tamara, who came second in the wet T-shirt comp.
Yeah.
Proudly sporting a bikini and a bottle of Bundy and Cola.
So you haven't got to the photos of like guys bathing themselves in the blood of freshly slaughtered porkers?
Not as yet. Not as yet.
It gets pretty disturbing
I'm
back
at the
there.
merchandise.
I'm telling you, Bacon Busters ain't for everybody.
Holy moly.
There you go. Now he's getting there. Guerin says he has a lactose-intolerant cat and 2 litres of milk. You do the maths. Send me a CD. So we will send a copy of A Legal Download to that man.
Well, what about this guy?
Oh, what's that story?
Well, the man's arrested on suspicion of carrying a concealed weapon after police found him outdoors naked, and he told them that he had a tool in his rectum.
Right. Okay, so...
Let's just say that he's lying on a park bench, right?
Yeah.
You know, he's enjoying his own company.
Yes.
Perhaps a little more than one should in public.
Nicely reworded.
Thank you very much.
From the article.
And then they've said, have you got anything on you that we should know about? And he said, yes, I've got an ice pick wrapped in some sort of tape
Yeah.
in my ass.
Right. So is that a threat? Or is that just for their information? Just FYI, just in case.
I think
if you've lost one, it might be, that could be it.
The plot of Basic Instinct 2.
Because, I mean, it's going to be hard to, attack. I mean, you're going to need written notice
But
that
geez,
you're
they'll
going to
be
be
surprised. I tell you what, they'll be surprised. If you think you finally wrestled the naked man to the ground, you're like, that's it. His wallet, wherever it might be, is mine. Right? And he's gone, really? Shing? I don't think so.
It's not shing.
It
takes
really
a
shing.
lot
It's
longer
not-
than shing. You've got to get the tape off it as well.
You've got to get
Do you want to have your best sound effect there, Tony?
Yeah.
What would the goons have done?
It would have been this one. That one?
And he's always got a glass of Fleet ready just to give it the push it needs.
Now, don't come at me yet. I've got me colonoscopy
Got me
medicine.
Fleet and then
I've got an ice
20.
pick up my ass, and it's wrapped in tape, but it's light sellotape. You could be in trouble. If you give me 25 minutes, you could be severely injured.
So, yeah, there you go. I love how you've written up the top because Nikki's brought it over for us.
Yeah.
And you've written, Nikki, is this for real? Question mark. Tell you what, though, best reenactment ever. I mean, there's not a lot of acting work out there, but I reckon even I might turn down the role of naked masturbator, ice pick up the bum. Number 2.
Ed, we've got another KFC ad or masturbating tool-up bum guy.
Well, what was that second one?
Masturbating tool-up bum guy?
Done. I won't expect payment.
And you know how you didn't have to eat in the KFC ad? This time you really do have to put the thing up here.
Tony Wilson knows all about sports.
Knows about everything.
Horse racing, that one's got me
Hard to
baffled.
come at.
Yeah.
Well, today, if you're watching the races, it is the best 5 minutes of television for the year when the angry little men in their silks,
They are angry, aren't they?
when they head towards the scales, carrying their saddles. Only one of them's happy, so that means that 23 of them are a little bit angry.
Lost.
And they give their excuse as to why they haven't won the Melbourne Cup. And that is, in my opinion, the best 3 minutes of television for the year.
Is there anything
when they
in
say...
particular?
They just go along one by one and say, nah, didn't get the 3,200. And then they go on to the next one and say, never got out, never really had a chance. But it's never, ever their fault. It's never like, stuffed up the right entirely. Didn't get the jump. I should have probably been in better position. It's never that. It's just, not good enough. You never went on with it. It's just a fantastic succession of high-pitched, angry little men who are about to go off to get their bourbons and cokes.
Someone left a piano accordion on the course. It's just great excuses. There's so much disturbing gear. Have you seen the horse mating? Have you seen that?
What?
Oh, the preparation.
What, in the office? Or?
No, on YouTube.
Oh, right. On YouTube.
No, it's a Sunday program, Serious Current Affairs. Have you seen that?
Yes.
What do they do?
There's big teams around for that.
Well, they just go to the break, and now when we come back, more
Do you know
of
there are
this.
fluffer horses?
Tony
What?
is not joking. Listen to this from the Sunday program.
A stallion with such a workload cannot be expected to hang around waiting for his intended to be ready. Enter Stickman, the teaser or fluffer, a pony whose entire role is that preparation. 10 seconds into his act, he's rudely interrupted and sent back to his stall. They remain possibly the most frustrated horses in the industry.
As angry as the jockeys of those fluffer horses.
The fluffer horses.
Stick man.
They're sent in to just get things started.
What? Like he's a real smooth talker. Rolls in with a cravat, glass of brandy, busts out some really good gear, and then gets ushered away.
Yeah.
No, I had friends that used to. I used to get angry because I'd go and meet the girl, and then they'd come up, the good-looking friend coming over the top.
Yeah. You're a fluffer. You're a barroom. You're a barroom fluffer, Wilson. I had no idea.
That's what I always heard.
A barroom fluffer. I think I am as well.
I want that to be Shannon Knowles' next hit, by the way. Barroom fluffer.
Actually, it's just realised that he is himself.
I think I'm a barroom fluffer.
I think you might be for the Bachelor of the Year.
Etc., etc.
But then the actual horse, the proper one, comes in and have a listen to this.
Now for the star attraction. The stallion in full throttle enters the arena. Today, the aptly named Rock of Gibraltar, former world champion, winner of 7 consecutive Group 1 races, his target secured, swabbed, prepared and primed, as nervous as a bride on her wedding day, awaits. The stallion mounts, and with so much investment at stake, there is no room for error. As many as 5 stallion handlers are at the ready to ensure nothing goes awry in this manufactured tryst. He's guided home by hand to ensure no wastage of, in this case, approximately $80,000 of liquid gold.
Just leave the horse alone. I've got someone else coming in first. Somebody's guided home by hand. Just give me some privacy.
Guided home by hand. 5 people. It takes 5 people to guide him home by hand.
We are running so late.
Hang on a second. No, wait, Tony.
This show needs guiding home by hand.
Listen, man. When you're a youngster and you want to get involved in the horse racing industry, how do you end up being the stallion guider?
Yeah.
That can't be a job.
It's like that thing that you use for snooker. You know, what's that?
The spider.
The spider. Basically, you're the human version of the spider.
Oh, my God.
For the stallion of the year.
That's disgusting.
That's very poor work.
It's early on in your vet degree, I think. You do that one.
Get this. Weekdays on the Triple M network and KOFM in Newcastle.